like about adding Tre Brown to the secondary?
He's a competitor. I remember him, a couple of years just on crossover tape in Seattle, and yeah, he fits what we like. He's a competitor. He's tough. He's smart. He has multi-position value. So he's a guy that's going to fit in great. And he was here late last night trying to learn the playbook and dive in. So we're excited about him.
You made some moves in the offseason to ostensibly improve the run defense. What do you guys have to do to slow down Saquon Barkley?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, because he's one of those guys, he gets a crease and he can take it, 60 yards at any point. So it's like you feel like you play good, and then next thing you know, boom, he hits it. So obviously we just got to play good gap sound defense, good knockback at the line of scrimmage, gang tackle, pursuit, all the same stuff that you would play in traditional run defense. You just got to do it every single snap because at any point he can break the game open.
Last year you guys ran a lot of stacked boxes against him. He still was able to get some explosive gains. He's talked about how he kind of likes his looks because it's just one defender at the third level to beat. So is he just sort of a unique player to try to figure out how to contain his running backs?
Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah, and you're exactly right. If you try to load the box to stop the run, it was kind of what I was referring to Gary. Then the next thing you know, he gets a seam and there's nobody else to tackle it. So you need some levels, layers to the defense, vision on him. And that goes to the pursuit and the gang tackling and everybody there. Any one-on-one tackle with space and with Saquon is an extremely tough tackle, as we all know. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that point.
Conversely, Jalen Hurts, the past 5 games, hasn't thrown for 200 yards. So much attention has been allocated to stopping Saquon Barkley. How do you ensure that Jalen Hurts doesn't beat you?
Yeah, that's the dichotomy of it, right? They got great players all over. They got great receivers. They got great tight end. And you stop one guy, you put all your resources to Saquon, and Jalen Hurts can hurt you. And we've played him, recently, obviously twice last year, the year before, and he's hurt us in the past game, and we know he's definitely capable of doing that. And so you got to divide your resources accordingly.
Josaiah Stewart got his first career sack this past weekend. Just what have you seen from him for the first couple of weeks?
He's a stud. We saw it going into that first game week. He had been kind of in and out with some injuries in training camp, and he was locked in, ready to go. And he was a guy, as soon as the pads came on in training camp, you felt him. He's an every down player. He can play in the run. He's tough. He's physical. He runs the ball. He's smart. He can process. For an edge guy going into his third game, he's playing at a really, really high level, and we're excited what we see.
Chris Shula has said that Byron Young took his game to the next level. How have you seen him, improve his game, and what specific areas has he done that?
He definitely did, Wyatt, and it's everyone sees the splash plays, obviously the 3 sacks, the sack fumble, things like that. But I think as far as his down in, down out, pre-snap demeanor, how he's hitting blocks in the run game has been the most impressive thing with him, and he's playing at an extremely high level. Like we talk about with Kobe Turner. You can't find many bad snaps, and that's how Byron Young is so far this year. You can't find many bad snaps on tape with him.
Byron's also talked about how he felt a level of responsibility with Michael's departure to be the leader of that room. How have you seen him change his approach as a 30-year guy now?
Yeah, he's the veteran of the group now. He's played a lot of football. I mean, I want to say he played 1,000 snaps his rookie year, and then played a ton of snaps last year. I don't think he's missed a game, so. You're exactly right. He knows, him and Joe Knigler, our outside backers coach, came in the league kind of together at the same time. It's been fun to kind of see that relationship grow, those guys together kind of work in unison to get better every single day. And, he really trusts Joe and takes all his coaching points and he can go out there and apply it. So, I think that's it, just kind of doing it. He'd done it before. I think he's just doing it down in, down out more consistently.
How about Jared Verse? Not a lot of splash plays in first 2 games, but how would you evaluate how he's played and what you were looking for out of him?
Yeah, I still think he's been an impact player for us. With you talk about a lot of the attention that he gets. Some of the success that Byron Young, Josaiah Stewart has happened because a lot of that attention is paid to Verse, and he'll be the first to tell you he can be more consistent. He can play with better effort and be snap in, snap out, and but we think Verse is exactly where we want him to be and expect him to continue to play well.
What did you appreciate about Ahkello Witherspoon's game? And now, even though he's gone, are there some ways that he can kind of impact or has impacted the growth of some of the younger corners?
Yeah, I mean, he's still around every day. He's in the meeting room. He's asking questions you wouldn't even know. But, it's a big loss. Love his presence out there, his communication, his calming effect on the back end. And we've played really good football with him in the secondary. So, really not just the corners or the secondary. Everybody's going to have to step up.
There-
How's Darious Williams handled this transition back into
It's seamless. You know, it was always kind of he was ready to go at all times. So, you know, Sean had a bunch of talks with him about, you know, staying in the game, being ready to roll. And, you know, that second half, he makes that huge break up on the fade that I think kind of changed the turning point of the game to kind of calm the you know, backside of 3x1s down, some back shoulder fades and stuff. So, you know, he's a guy that, you know, I feel like I've known him forever. You know, I think it was 2018. You know, we've kind of known him since. So, you know, we've had a lot of ups and downs together. And we knew at some point he would play a critical role for this defense, and just happened to be last week.
Some rookies, when they come into an NFL team, they subvert their personalities. But Jared has been Jared from day one. How important has his willingness to be himself been in making the transition so smooth at this level?
That's who he is, and you know, I think that's just his style of play, and that's his personality. And I think that's what, you know, Sean and Les and the people in this organization have done is people come in here, they feel like they can be the best versions of themselves. So when we drafted Jared Verse, that's all we wanted him to be, the best version of Jared Verse. Didn't want him to tone it down at all, didn't want him to do anything, be himself exactly who he is, and that's what he's done so far.
There's really no way to prepare for the tush push now that you guys have seen it up close and personal several times. How do you begin to game plan and try to take that away?
Yeah, I mean, you see it just like I do. Obviously, they got a lot more practice than us at it. So, you know, it's something that, you know, you just try to do. You try to do it in walkthroughs and see if you can stop it.
What's it like watching Davante and Puka kind of work off each other the way they did after what I would assume was an off-season of trying to figure out how to implement them together?
Yeah, good problem to have, obviously, trying to figure out how we can get a second ball on the field, not just for them two, but, you know, for a lot of the guys. So, again, it's still a work in progress. We're still in September. We're 2 weeks into this thing. There was some great stuff that I thought we did as an offense, and there's a lot of stuff that we can learn from and be better from. So, you know, not just those two, but us collectively.
Coach, how important is it for you guys to begin to start fast?
Yeah, it's huge, and it's every week. You know, I mean, this. Sometimes you kick a field goal in the first quarter and you think you know, like you screwed the defense for the rest of the game, right? Because you get down there and you need 6 every single time. That's got to be the mindset. And inevitably, you're not going to get in there every single time, but that has to be the mindset because when you kick field goals in this league, more times than not, you do get beat. But, you know, to your point, I mean, starting fast is huge. I thought, you know, last week getting that on the 4th down, it was a great, I don't want to call it an individual effort because there was a lot of guys on that did their job right there. But for Puka to, you know, basically kind of be stopped in the backfield and make that 45-yard run to your question, to start fast was big.
How about Blake Corum seemed to step up, take advantage of his opportunity. What do you want to see from him going forward?
Yeah, just continue to be Blake Corum and just get better and better every single week. I thought, to your point, I think he went in there and flashed some stuff that we all know, and more importantly, his teammates know he's very much capable of, you know. And so, you know, he'll just get more and more opportunities in terms of just, hey, we're playing another opponent this Sunday. And obviously we know we don't want any back out there 100% of the time. So he'll get his touches, you know, some way, some form. And, you know, he definitely made the most of them last week.
The offense got quite a few explosive runs this past week. What did you see that made that possible, and how do you know, continue to do that throughout the season?
Yeah, I think there was a, you know, just as the game went on, you know, I thought our guys really just kind of kept leaning on them a little bit more. You know, it was a hot day out there, you know, and sometimes you get stringed together a little bit of a drive that takes a little bit of a toll on a D-line. You know, that's a very, very good defensive front and very good defense that we played last week. So, you know, I thought it was just kind of one of those things as we kind of got in a little bit of a groove there in the second half, had our spots in the first half, but really played the ball that we feel like we're capable of. That's where I think you saw those explosive runs come to fruition.
Despite everything they've accomplished as a unit, that Eagles secondary is still pretty young overall. Like, how have you seen them develop from January to now?
Yeah, I mean, I thought in January, it's like, seriously, these two are rookies, you know, because they're studs. You know, and obviously they brought in Adoree, you know, so, you know, with losing Slay and stuff. So there's been a little bit of, you know, shuffle there and then at safety as well. But not to be confused with not really, really good. It's a really good secondary. Our guys know that. They're a problem for most NFL teams are a problem for us. We got to be on our P's and Q's in both phases of the game because they'll expose you. You know, they expose bad football across their 11 with their D coordinator, but their DBs especially. If you don't run good routes, crisp routes, they'll expose you.
How would you describe the challenge of game planning and going up against the Vic Fangio defense?
Ready for him to hang it up. He's a stud. I said it last year. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it's no disrespect to anyone else that you know we've gone against from a coordinator perspective over the years. But I mean, he's the most consistent. His defenses are always the best or one of the best, and he evolves with the times. You know, it feels like he's always one step ahead of most offenses. It's a problem, and he's got good players with it, you know, so it was a very smart move by Nick to bring him in, you know, and, you know, I think you see it come to life on tape.
When you look at the 4 touchdowns run that Saquon had last year, sorry to bring it up, but when you look at that, those were all big, long runs. Was it as simple as broken coverage? What was it?
When you take away the 4 big runs that they had against us, it changes the game completely. Like, it's not the same narrative of, oh, we're not making the NFC Championship or anything like that. Like, we're going to the NFC Championship and farther than that. Like, you take away those big runs that he had, the second big run that Hurts had, it's a whole different game. So all you have to do is eliminate the explosives. We take away the explosives, both of those games are very winnable.
Was it a scheme thing? Was it missed tackles?
It was a mixture of both. You know, everybody's just got to do their job. They're 1 of 11. Every now and then, you know, it might be 10 of 11, and that's when we become dangerous. Saquon's a very good back. If everyone's not on the same page, he can damage you.
Jared, the last time you were going to Philadelphia, you created a little bit of a uproar in Philly with some of your comments. And in the aftermath of that game, a lot of those fans said that they actually had earned a lot of respect for you. So what are your feelings going back to Philly? And what are your thoughts now?
Our feelings are roughly the same, but like it is with everybody. Like, I respect people that, you know, not only respect me, but that stand on business. You know, they stood on business with the situation. They came with their energy. After the game, I tipped my hat off to them. They tipped it back. Like, I wanted the Eagles to, you know, since they beat us, to go and win the Super Bowl, because if I'm going to lose, I want to lose to the best. And, you know, I have respect for those fans. I have respect for the players. I have respect for all of them. But, you know, I stand on everything I've ever said.
B.Y.'s had a really strong start to the season. Just what stood out about the way he's played?
That boy is dogging people. I don't know why some people are like surprised by him. I'm like, bro, the dude ran a 4.4. Like, he can run by people. Like, and B.Y. is like, me and B.Y. are roughly the same size. Like, he can run through anybody. I don't know why people are surprised by this. Like, B.Y. is dominating, and when you give him the chance to just go win, which we've been giving him that chance, that's exactly what's going to happen. Like, expect a lot more of that.
You have not had a lot of splash plays, at least like those guys, but Chris Shula was talking about how the attention people have to pay to you actually helps those other guys. How do you kind of evaluate how you've played through the first 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, you know, not being able to say, oh, I'm making this play, I'm making that play, especially when you watch some of the other top guys in the league, you know, making plays with similar attention. But then you got to realize, not only am I helping, you know, the team, I'm helping my whole defense, I'm helping these guys make the plays. But they're all opportunities I've had that I haven't taken advantage of, where I'm getting my one-on-one, I'm getting a pure me, him, who's the better man play, and I'm not taking advantage of those. So this whole week, that's been my main focus. Like, Philly's a very good offensive line. They don't really do a lot of chipping with their tight ends. Saquon might chip every now and then, but you get a lot of pure one-on-ones. Who's the better man? So there's going to be like a game that, like, I kind of dream of.
Have you always been comfortable expressing yourself? Was there ever a shy or quiet Jared verse at some point growing up?
I mean, like, when I first meet people for like 5 minutes, I'm quiet, I'm shy. Like, I don't know, you don't want to talk like out of character, but like after that, I'm kind of just me.
How do you feel like you express your personality on the field as a player?
I'm pretty loud, I'm pretty vocal, I'm pretty like aggressive. Like, I'm gonna get in your face, I'm gonna yell at you, I'm gonna talk crazy. After the game, it's all love, but when we in between them white lines, those 60 minutes, like, you gonna really hate me.
Jared, what's been the key for your defensive unit to limit the amount of explosive plays from the Texans? It's also Houston. Last week.
Yeah.
I know Philly's a different team, but what's been the key for your unit? limit those explosive
I mean, I feel
plays?
like in the first 2 weeks we've limited the explosive plays by a huge amount. Obviously, Philly's a different team than any team we've faced so far, but the biggest thing is you got to do your 1 of 11. I have to stay on the edge. BY has to stay on his edge. Punas has to hold that A gap. Fitz has to do this. The DBs have to play coverage. Fill in on the run. Like we all got to just do our 1 of 11. You do that, everything's done with. We don't give a lot of quarterbacks time to hold the ball and kind of play around in the backfield, everything like that. So the DBs just got to cover for a little bit. If it's their number's called to stop the run, you just got to stop the run. That's all we need from you. 1 of 11.
Jared, you're getting ready to go. You're getting ready to go back to the stadium that your phenomenal first season ended. What are your thoughts and feelings going back to Philadelphia?
I don't think about any of the past. I don't think about any of the past 2 games. I don't think about anything in the past season. All that's gone. What matters now is what's the next thing in front of me. I'm worried about tomorrow. After that, I'm worried about Saturday. Then we can get to Sunday. But all I care about is handling my next phase of my life.
I think it was last year in the Vikings game, they had you mic'd up, and you were very talkative, but at the end, you said to an offensive lineman, "You made me better today." On that note, do you ever feel like, is there ever a line to cross where you have to say, "I'm talking too much," and stay within yourself?
I'll always get disrespectful, towards the person individually. I don't talk about anybody's relationships, anybody's family. I don't talk about anybody's kids, anything like that. That's a whole separate thing that you never get into. The thing I'll say, I'll get a lot into your face. I'll be like, you this cuss word, you that, profanity. I'll say a lot of stuff like that. You suck, all this stuff, all disrespectful stuff towards you, but I'll never bring in anybody else into it, anything like that.
Is that part of your mental challenge to the other person?
It's not even anything like that. It's just there's a certain line you don't cross. You just don't get that disrespectful, because at that point it's just what are you even thinking you're doing? That's just too much. I'm gonna get disrespectful. I'm gonna get in your face. I'm gonna get loud. I'm gonna throw you off your game. But I'm not gonna talk about anything outside of football.
When it comes to that extra attention that you're getting from offenses, do you feel like that's just maybe another step in your growth as a pass rusher? Because the greats often will get that attention, and that does that just kind of challenge you to find a way to play through that?
No, it definitely is. I mean, the greats get that attention. The greats break through it. You can only chip somebody so many times before you got to realize, all right, we can't do this no more. He's going to get out of this. So what else can you do after that? So I just got to pass this next phase, this next wall, this next mountain. That's the only thing I'm focused on. Once I pass that, we cook it with oil again.
Everyone doing their 111 was a big point of emphasis for you guys coming out of that first Eagles game last year. Did you guys feel like you did a better job of that in the second matchup, or where do you feel like you still need it?
I think we definitely did a better job in our second matchup. I think the biggest problem was limiting those explosives that we talked about. You take away those explosives, that game, that's taking off 3 touchdowns off the board. And that's not to say that they won't go down the field and still put on points on that board. But I mean, how many times did they score when it wasn't an explosive play that second game? It's a whole different game when you do it like that. We're out there, we're in the snow. We're doing snow angels after the game. But that's a whole different thing. I don't want to talk too much about the past. I'm focused on this Sunday.
When you think about the jump phase for year 1 to year 2, what did you do that helped you the most?
I think of self-scout. I think of the people here in the room. I think you have your exit meetings with Coach Yarbs, and you kind of about 3 things that you gotta work that you did good in the season, and 3 things that you can improve upon, and really taking those things of correction, planting off the right foot, the quickness at the line of scrimmage, and trying to take those things to heart, and then having somebody like Coop who was able to implement kind of a game plan in the offseason and be like, all right, this is how we're going to structure to achieve some of those goals. So kind of the whole offseason planning and really having a structured environment.
When you're looking at film this week of Philadelphia, did it bring back any PTSD about so close but yet so far last season?
No, I kind of put some smile on your face. You remember some of the good plays, you remember some of the bad plays, and honestly, moving on to kind of a whole new team. I think of where we are compared to kind of where we were even towards the end of that last season, how we feel like our team is gelling, and kind of the excitement that I feel like we're playing the game of football with right now. I think it's something very different even from where we were at last year. So it's exciting, and the opportunity to go out and showcase what we got on Sunday is alive and well in this locker room.
It's been over a year since that team has lost in their own building. What's the challenge there for you guys?
I think I know there's gonna be some downs. We're gonna be on the silent count. So I think our level of communication being on a little bit of an uptick. Obviously, I think the weather the last time we were playing there kind of impacting maybe some of the sound, but I think our operation has been great to start off the season. So I think that's something that we continue to improve upon and get a chance to showcase on Sunday.
Going into this hostile environment, what's running through your mind as a wide receiver going into Philly? to face down the world champs?
I'm excited. I think I love to play the game physical. I feel like that's something that I come up here and say pretty often. But I think that's something that this team plays with as well. So it'll be exciting to prove yourself on Sunday. It's something that comes up every Sunday, but especially against a physical opponent who likes to show off their toughness. I think it'll be an opportunity for us to show what we got.
You mentioned that physicality. Do you remember the first time in your career, either before the NFL or during, when you made a play and you got the reaction of, wow, he's so physical? Do you remember what stands out?
If somebody's saying that about me, no. I think in my head the idea that nobody says anything to me after the physicality is enough. In the like, oh yeah, like I think I was physical enough. If he didn't come back and be like, hey, I wanted to get, like he wasn't asking for me to bring that same type of energy, that means I brought it enough the first time.
Do you have a coach though, or anyone that has like made a comment after a play?
I remember definitely my rookie year. There was I think maybe it might have been the week 2 against San Fran. We had a perimeter play and kind of got a chance to like, hey, we have some big guys. And knowing that you see the Bosa brother on TV all the time, we're like, man, this is a guy I got a block, and having a pretty good block. And Coach Pete's coming back in there, and on Monday there was a good pat on the back, even though we lost. But he's like, oh, on this play you had a plus, and it was like, all right, one you get up and you kind of flex after.
After now going to Philadelphia and playing there, what's your assessment of the fans and what excites you about playing in front of them again?
I think as a competitor, you enjoy the environment, to play in a hostile environment, because it brings that the camaraderie and the togetherness of your unit that much closer. I think of that the time that we spent in the locker room, coming back in during halftime, and how intense that huddle is. One, needing to understand and communicate for everybody to be on the same page, but just that intensity and the energy that you feel when you're getting ready to break the huddle, and the force that you get to move with as an offense.
And that secondary has transformed from last year to this year. What's your early assessment of what you've seen out of them?
I think they still have very similar structures to kind of how they play their style of defense. I think, and they still have some core pieces to their defense. Obviously, it was number 53, and then Cooper out there, and then you have Blake and Chip, and so they have some pieces that have played a lot of football for them, and I understand how they like to move in that defense. So it'll be an opportunity for us to go out there and execute against some familiar faces, and then introduce some new guys to the Rams offense.
In general, what are you noticing about when you and Davante are both on the field together, and how teams are covering you guys, and how is that opening things up for each of you on the field?
I think it's I can't imagine, number 9 can make any throw on the field, but I'm sure it's nice when you get somebody as experienced as he is to understand and get that much more information you can from the defense to be able to dissect it. I think it's fun. There aren't too many times where I remember you just kind of wait for the defense to break their huddle after we've broken ours to kind of see where our guys are going. So that's an exciting feeling, knowing that, all right, every play, and especially on third down, that they're finding their matchups, and you know what you're working against. So it's been super fun, because our Coach McVay, Matthew, and the masterminds that we have on the offensive side of the ball, they do their best to get us the opportunities to succeed. So, when we go out there, we're going to have a great game plan to execute.
Obviously, this is year 3, but is there anything that Matthew Stafford does that still surprises you?
I think the no-look pass, I think will never. I mean, there are route concepts and space that I feel like, I understand kind of where my opportunities might be, but you just never know, because, the eyes are misleading.
Puka, going into that environment, how important is it for the offensive unit to get off to a fast start?
I think it's going to be important. I think that's something that we have been trying to emphasize this year. One, I think just our intensity off the ball, whether it's out of the huddle on a quick count, or just our normal cadence. Being able to, I think in our receiver room, we say jump off the ball. So I think that's something that our offenses try to take initiative in, and opportunity for us to kind of get that extra inch on the defense to be able to come and explode off the ball. So it'll be exciting, because whether it comes in duo or in the form of some play action, we're going to be excited.
Knowing that Matthew is capable and frequently does throw no-look passes, as a receiver, how important is you to always be prepared to catch the ball?
Super important. I think that, and it's a wide receiver mindset of, man, if you get the opportunity to run a route, you run it with the intention to get the ball and to run after catch and to be open. So it keeps that mentality of no route is ever dead. There are routes that they say that are for the love of the game to get other teammates open, and that may be a part of the drawing when it's up on the whiteboard. But out there on the football field, that ball is live as could be.
You said the love of the game. In training camp, Davante noticed that. He's like, that doesn't exist with Matthew. Is that accurate?
I would say so. I think there's the opportunity, and we trust our guys. So when if you're going down the field or whether it's something intermediate where you're behind a defender, you run that route to get open and to expect the ball, because he understands the defenses. He knows where he wants to go and how to manipulate them. So you always be prepared.